Derry, Maine, in October 1988, Bill Denbrough helps his younger brother Georgie create a paper boat named the SS Georgie. Even though Georgie wants to go out and sail it in the heavy rain, Bill is feeling unwell and can't go with him. Before Georgie heads out to play, the brothers share a hug. Georgie watches as his boat floats down the street and rushes after it, accidentally bumping into an obstacle. The boat sails to the end of the street and falls into a sewer. Worried that his brother Bill will be upset, Georgie tries to retrieve the boat. Peering into the sewer, he encounters a pair of eerie yellow eyes belonging to a being, introducing itself as Pennywise the Dancing Clown. Pennywise engages in playful conversation, offering to return Georgie's boat. But when Georgie reaches for it, Pennywise suddenly seizes his arm, sinking sharp teeth into it. In a horrifying turn, the creature tears off Georgie's arm and, despite his cries for help, drags him into the depths of the sewers. June 1989. We're introduced to Mike Hanlon as he's with his grandfather Leroy, who instructs him to slaughter a sheep using a nail gun. Leroy delivers a lecture to the boy before ultimately carrying out the act himself. On the final day of school, Bill and his pals Richie Tozier, Eddie Kasbrak, and Stanley Uris, who form the Losers Club, are excitedly beginning their summer break. However, their plans are disrupted when they encounter the school's cruel bully, Henry Bowers, along with his gang, Patrick Hochstetter, Victor Chris. As Henry advances threateningly, he abruptly retreats upon spotting his father, Officer Bowers, standing behind Bill. Before leaving, he taunts Bill by licking his palm and smearing it on Bill's face. In the school bathroom, Beverly Marsh is smoking when a clique of mean girls, led by Greta, starts teasing her, hurling accusations of promiscuity. Amid the taunts, one girl dumps a trash bag full of water on Beverly, but she shields herself with a book. As Beverly leaves the building, she encounters the new student, Ben Hascom. Ben faces ridicule for his weight and lack of friends. Beverly signs his yearbook, sparking what seems to be a budding crush from Ben's side toward her. When Bill arrives home, his father, Zach, reprimands him for constructing a model depicting the sewer system in Derry, as he still holds on to hope that Georgie is merely missing. Zach urges Bill to come to terms with the reality that Georgie is no longer alive, encouraging him to accept his brother's death. Mike heads to the butcher shop for a delivery and hears distressing sounds of screaming and banging behind a door in the alley. When the door opens, he witnesses several burnt hands reaching out. Suddenly, he encounters Pennywise, but his attention is diverted as he narrowly avoids being struck by a car driven by the Bowers gang. In a panic, Mike quickly escapes from the scene. Stan finds himself at the synagogue preparing for his bar mitzvah. While studying, he notices a painting in the rabbi's office that unsettles him, depicting a woman with a twisted and eerie face. Suddenly, the painting falls, and as Stan picks it up, the woman in the painting vanishes. Startled, he turns around only to come face to face with Ite, appearing as the woman with a menacing smile and fangs. Terrified, Stan flees from the scene. Ben is engrossed in researching Derry's history at the library, uncovering a series of articles detailing the city's dark past. He discovers a chilling pattern of children mysteriously vanishing in the town over many years. Among the materials, he comes across a depiction of Pennywise and a haunting image of a missing boy's head in a tree. Engulfed in his research, Ben is drawn to investigate further and finds himself lured into the library's basement. There, he encounters the ghastly sight of a headless boy before being chased out by the menacing presence of Pennywise, leaving him in a state of intense fright. In a harrowing encounter, Ben faces an attack from the Bowers gang while on his way home. Henry's cronies restrain him against the bridge railing, where a menacing plan unfolds. Patrick aims to use bug spray and a lighter to harm Ben, while Henry intends to carve his name into Ben's stomach. As the brutal scene unfolds, an elderly couple passes by but chooses not to intervene, and the presence of a red balloon hints at the lurking presence of IT. However, before the attackers can cause further harm, Ben manages to retaliate by kicking Henry and tumbling over the bridge, falling into the woods below. The gang pursues him as he flees. Coincidentally, the Losers Club, led by Bill, is near the sewers, on their quest to find Georgie. Ben falls into the water near them, prompting the boys to swiftly act and rescue him from danger, pulling him to safety. Patrick ventures into the sewers, separating from his friends in an attempt to reach Ben. Inside, he encounters eerie, demonic-looking children that terrify him, prompting a frantic escape. However, his flight leads him to a dead end. Suddenly, a multitude of red balloons materialize around him, each bursting to reveal Pennywise. In a swift and horrifying turn, Pennywise overtakes Patrick. The boys head to the pharmacy for cotton balls and bandages, but they find themselves short on money. Coincidentally, Beverly is also at the pharmacy buying tampons when she encounters the boys. Upon learning about their predicament, Bev devises a plan. She pretends to flirt with the pharmacist, Mr. Keene, to distract him. However, Mr. Keene's behavior strikes her as creepy. Despite this, Bev successfully keeps him occupied long enough for the boys to gather their supplies, even managing to sneak away with some cigarettes for herself. As Bev exits the pharmacy, she notices the boys attending to Ben's injuries. She joins them outside, offering her assistance after observing their predicament. The situation at Beverly's home turns grim when she encounters her father, who displays disturbing behavior toward her, making advances that deeply unsettle her. Overwhelmed and distraught, Beverly seeks refuge in the bathroom, tears streaming down her face. In an act of desperation and determination, she takes matters into her own hands, cutting off her hair until it's significantly shorter, a bold and defiant move to assert some form of control over her circumstances. At the quarry, the boys, accompanied by Ben, stand at the edge, hesitant to take the leap into the lake. Bev arrives and takes the plunge without hesitation, encouraging the others to follow suit. Their collective reluctance fades as they join her in jumping into the water, enjoying a carefree time swimming and bonding. As the day progresses, Ben shares what he discovered about Derry's unsettling history with the group, revealing details that add a layer of unease to their surroundings and the town's past. Eddie finds himself walking past the eerie abandoned house on Neibolt Street when he's suddenly confronted by a menacing figure, a leper, startling him into a panic. Fearing for his safety, Eddie bolts through the house's yard, desperately trying to evade the terrifying encounter. As he reaches the fence, he catches sight of Pennywise, who attempts to entice him closer. In a rush of fear, Eddie navigates under the fence. In her room, Beverly holds a postcard with a heartfelt poem, believing it's from Bill, her assumed secret admirer. However, the actual writer is Ben, unbeknownst to her. While in her bathroom, Bev hears children's voices seemingly emanating from the sink. As she investigates, clumps of hair extend from the drain, attempting to seize her before a terrifying deluge of blood floods the bathroom. Mr. Marsh enters to find Bev distressed, but he cannot perceive the blood. He casually remarks that her short hair makes her resemble a boy, oblivious to the horror that his daughter has just experienced. Bill is strolling through the house when he's startled to catch sight of what appears to be Georgie, his lost brother, moving around. Overwhelmed by shock and hope, Bill follows the illusion of Georgie down to the basement, which is unexpectedly flooding. As Georgie steps into view, he extends an invitation to Bill, uttering the haunting phrase, "We all float down here. You'll float too." Repeatedly chanting these unsettling words, Georgie undergoes a disturbing transformation, screaming and disintegrating before Bill's eyes. In the aftermath, Pennywise emerges from the water, attempting to ensnare Bill. Fueled by terror, Bill flees from the basement, desperately escaping the horrifying encounter with the malevolent entity. The following day, the kids ride their bikes and stumble upon Mike's bike and the Bowers gang's car. Down by the creek, they witness the punks targeting Mike with racial harassment. In a defiant act, Bev intervenes by hurling a rock at Henry's head, setting off a barrage of rocks exchanged between both groups. Amid the chaos, Mike joins the losers, while Vic and Belch opt to flee the scene. As the conflict intensifies, a rock hits Henry, rendering him unconscious. As the kids walk away alongside Mike, Bill opens up about the disturbing encounter he witnessed in his house, supported by Eddie, who confirms seeing Pennywise too. Mike shares his own harrowing experience, recounting how his family's house was destroyed by racist attackers. He grimly describes the tragic fate of his parents, who perished while attempting to rescue him, leaving them with severe burns that revealed their bones. In this solemn exchange, Richie is the lone member who hasn't faced a haunting encounter, but he candidly admits his deep-seated fear of clowns, disclosing his intense phobia. Each of them, affected by their own terrifying experiences, bonds over their shared encounters and fears. Gathering at Bill's garage, the kids examine a map of Derry through a projector, discovering the connections between the sewers and the Neibolt house, its lair. However, the projector suddenly acts on its own, projecting unsettling images of Bill and Georgie with their parents, overlaid with Pennywise's face looming over their mother. In a panic, they try to stop the projector, but it continues to function, displaying haunting images until Pennywise fully materializes from the screen, menacingly targeting the children. Swiftly reacting, they manage to escape the garage just in time, narrowly avoiding the grasp of the malevolent entity. As the losers brace themselves to confront it at the Neibolt house, Bill, Richie, and Eddie venture inside. Inside, Richie is unsettled by a missing poster bearing his own face, but Bill reassures him that it's not real. However, Eddie becomes separated from his friends when Pennywise targets him, causing him to plummet through the floor and land in the kitchen, resulting in a broken arm. Bill and Richie desperately attempt to reach Eddie, facing horrifying challenges through different doors. The second door ensnares Richie within a room packed with clown dolls, where he encounters a coffin containing a dummy resembling himself. As he closes it, Pennywise ambushes him, provoking a frenzied escape from Richie. Meanwhile, Pennywise refocuses his attention on Eddie, but just in time, Bill and Richie intervene, preventing the clown from harming him. Beverly arrives at a crucial moment, driving a spear through Pennywise's head, causing the entity to retreat momentarily, providing a momentary respite for the shaken group. After witnessing Eddie's broken arm, his mother forbids the other members of the Losers Club from spending time with him. The tension within the group heightens when Bill and Richie engage in a heated argument. Richie voices his concern, stating that their pursuit of finding Georgie has placed their lives at risk multiple times. This conflict leads to a rupture within the group as the members begin to part ways, overwhelmed by fear and uncertainty. The gravity of the situation and the dangers they've faced cause the other boys to become too terrified to continue with their pursuit, prompting them to distance themselves from the pursuit of unraveling the mysteries surrounding surrounding Georgie's disappearance. In August, as the kids navigate their daily routines, Eddie heads to the pharmacy to collect his asthma medication. To his dismay, Greta, who works at the counter, reveals that the medications he's been taking are actually placebos. Essentially, they hold no medicinal value. To add insult to injury, Greta cruelly writes "loser" on Eddie's arm cast, intensifying his distress and humiliation. Henry is with Vic and Belch shooting things with his dad's gun. He orders Belch to bring him a cat to shoot, but Officer Bauer shows up to take the gun from Henry. He then shoots the ground around Henry's feet to humiliate him in front of his friends and expose him as a coward. Later, Henry sees a red balloon on his mailbox. Inside is a knife, sent by IT. He goes inside as his father is asleep with the TV on. On the screen appears a woman with children, all urging Henry to kill his father. He does so by sticking the knife in his neck and letting him bleed out. The kids on TV, all of its victims, then start chanting, "Kill them all! Kill them all!" At the Marsh house, Beverly's dad attempts to act upon his lust toward his daughter. She fights him off and runs into the bathroom. When Mr. Marsh gets there, Bev whacks him across the face with a toilet lid, killing him just as she is about to leave. Pennywise finds her and takes her. Bill goes by Bev's house and finds her father dead in the bathroom and sees "You'll die if you try" written on the wall in blood. He realizes Bev has been taken by it, so he goes to make amends with his friends to rescue her. When they get Eddie, his mom forbids him from leaving and joining his friends, but he defies her when he confronts her over the placebos. He ditches her and joins his friends. The boys go to the Niebold house and find a well where it dwells. They climb down a rope, but before Mike can head down, Henry shows up and attacks him. He starts pulling the rope up to prevent the boys from climbing back up. Henry tries to kill Mike with the nail gun that he brought, but Mike fights him off and manages to push him down the well, sending him to his apparent death. Going further into the well, Stan is attacked by IT as the woman from the painting. She munches on his head, but the boys scare it away and comfort a mortified Stan. All the boys head further into the well where they find its lair. All the children he's taken are floating up in the deadlights under some kind of trance. The boys find Bev floating. They pull her down and Ben kisses her to break her out of the trance. Bill then sees Georgie emerge from the shadows. Georgie tells Bill he missed him and was waiting for him to come for him, but he knows it's not really Georgie, and he shoots him in the head. His body writhes on the ground until he turns into Pennywise. The clown tries to kill the kids, but they fight him off until he has his hold on Bill. Pennywise gives the others the option to die together or leave him with just Bill. Bill tells them to run, but Richie is the first to fight back. The kids then start beating the crap out of Pennywise until he is powerless, unable to hurt them because they no longer fear him. Before Bill can strike the fatal blow to the clown's cracking skull, Pennywise retreats into the darkness and thus escapes. The kidnapped children then float downward. Bill then finds Georgie's raincoat. He realizes that Georgie truly is gone. Bill breaks down in tears as his friends gather around and hug him. It is now September. The losers swear a blood oath to return to Derry in 27 years, should it ever return. They hang out for a while until each of them gradually leaves, with only Bill and Bev stay behind. She's going to move to Portland now. As she walks away, Bill runs up to her and kisses her.